servants are not more than 1 million Kenyans. And this is those who are working in ministries, those who are working in parastatus, those who are working with police service, those who are working with teacher service commission, or those who are working with the judiciary, plus even the military. They are not more than 1 million Kenyans. And they are there to offer services to the entire population and to create an enabling environment for foreign investment, for business to thrive, ROCO investments. So it's a lot of work.
Right.
Yes.
There's a lot of work, and it would appear as though there are a lot of resources that are available for this work to be done. And I'm not just talking about money as a resource, but also as people as a resource. And one of those groups of people is the NYS, the National Youth Service. How many people are we looking at that make up the NYS today?
Let me say, NYS is a very strategic national service institution. Very strategic. It was established in the year 1964, and its aim was to get those the youth who are in a fight against the colonials, bring them back to society, giving them basic skills so that they can be able to serve the nation. That was the main reason why National Youth Service was created in 1964, to reintegrate the young people in Kenya who are basically out there fighting for independence. But of course, that transitioned gradually to what NYS it is today. It was formed through an act of parliament. That act of parliament has gone through amendment, several amendments, to take shape, into the changing times. So it's a very strategic national institution, national service institution. And at the moment, 60 years down the line, many things have changed. We are talking about technology, we are talking about artificial intelligence, we are talking about young people who are restless, we are talking about young people who want to do, a lot within the nation and also getting a lot of influence from the other part of the world, because communication has become quite fast. It's very easy for young people to know what's happening in Far East, what's happening in the Middle East, what's happening in America, and many as it happens. So we are in a situation where now we have to rethink how can the National Youth Service serve the young people of the Republic? How can National Youth Service, being a very strategic national service institution, how can it face the future?
So how many people are we looking at that make up the youth service?
At the moment, we have 20,000 young people who are getting trained in paramilitary training. That is in Girgir. That's a huge number. But by year 2027, the government is working towards increasing the number up to 100,000 young people getting trained at a go. Because you appreciate the fact that when you go to all corners of the Republic of Kenya, there are young people in our villages who are seeking to get skills, who are seeking to serve the nation. And those opportunities are not there. So we have 21 campuses of National Youth Service. How can we make these 21 campuses of National Youth Service more productive? How can we ensure that they are accommodating as many young people in the Republic of Kenya as possible? So one of the strategies which the government has employed is to ensure moving forward we are going to start commercialization. Because one of the things which has hindered the expansion of the National Youth Service is money, is funding, because funding has been coming from the exchequer, from the consolidated account. But now, the funding has been a problem, not only to NYS, but to many government institutions. So the question is, can we be able to use what the skills which National Youth Service instills to young people we have seen a National Youth Service offering security in many of government facilities. Can we extend this? Can we be able to get payment out of this? We have seen there is a lot of engineering which is done, trained at National Youth Service. May it be the repairing of motor vehicle, may it be the construction in roads or in a building. All this can be commercialized such that we can be able to, NYS can be able to earn money, and this money can be reinvested in expansion, in ensuring there are enough facilities for training of young people, so that we can be able to mop up young people across our villages in the country. If you go to a village today, I'm sure by the time you are the nearest market center, there will be more than 20 young people asking questions, asking you, you help them, you give them a read. We need urgently to do something as a nation so that these young people can have areas where they can be trained. Yes, true. We have we have polytechnics, technical institutes across the country. At least every constituency has a technical institute. But still, are they enough? No. So we have to create opportunities at a speed which is required for the young people to do national service, to get training, and more so discipline training, because that is the first training which is inculcated in the National Youth Service. 6 months paramilitary training for discipline. You have discipline all through your life, and then after that you do national youth service. You do national service for a year, and after which you go for vocational training depending on your areas of interest. So these are the areas where we think skill development, civic duty, and youth empowerment NYS will play a greater role moving forward in ensuring these are achieved. Skill development, civic duty, and youth empowerment.
Yes, 60 years of NYS, and a lot has happened. We've seen the numbers that continue to be churned out every other year with regard to the training that you talk about. But one would want to ask, what has stopped NYS from achieving the changes that you're talking about over the years?
One is the law which govern National Youth Service. We have an act of parliament which establishes National Youth Service. We have areas where we need some amendments so that the act can be tailored in such a way that is facing the future. NYS is facing the future probably. So that's one of the challenges. Number two, at the moment, as I mentioned, is that National Youth Service, whatever it corrects, must go to the exchequer, must be taken to consolidated account. And whatever is in consolidated account belongs to the people of Kenya and is shared across all the government institutions. So for us to allow NYS to commercialize the services, to retain money, and to use that money in reinvesting in facilities across the country, we have to. That process must be okayed by the Attorney General, by the Parliament of Kenya, by the Cabinet. So that process has not been there, was not executed. But this is a process now which we are working on, and in a couple of weeks from now, we will be finishing the process. Setting up the commercial enterprise also requires some huge seed capital money, and also requires very serious and management. People who are properly trained. There has been consultation with quite a number of consultants and professors from University of Nairobi, NYS, on how we can establish the enterprise. And remember, where there is a need, where there is serious money, some people will come with all manner of ideas.
Right.
But what we are saying, we are here to serve the people of the Republic, and we will not tolerate anybody who may have other
plans,
other ideas.
Okay.
Which will drain the.
Yes. Commercialization comes with risks.
Yes.
And one of those risks is the history of our institutions, corruption. How, because you're proposing commercializing the NYS operations, how do you plan to balance revenue generation with NYS core values and mission of youth empowerment and national service?
Yeah.
How do you plan to balance that?
That's a very good question, a very critical question, and that is where the rubber meets the road. There will be employment of professionals, well-trained professionals, to that enterprise, to that national youth enterprises. Already the organizational structure is ready. The qualification of those people who should fill those gaps or those positions in the organizational structure, the skills required are there. But myself as a minister, we have a PS, we have a Commandant General who will be on top of everything in terms of ensuring the management of that institution, enterprise, is well taken care of. Because we can't allow a situation where mismanagement of resources is happening, and a situation where we don't achieve what we intend to achieve. And the end goal is to ensure we get as many young Kenyans as possible in skill development, in civic duty, and of course they will come out as empowered, and they can go out there and do different things to build their family, to build the nation, to build the economy, and to make this country move forward.
Right. We saw NYS rather in action, and then begs the question that where will we actually see, which strategic places will we see NYS working and what they actually do? The potential that NYS has in this to be able to get things done in this country is huge. And when I say that we saw things in action, I remember during the series of services that took place for late former President Daniel Arap Moi, the things that we saw NYS do in terms of getting Nyayo Stadium from, falling apart to ready for service, and then the organization that we saw with the viewings of bodies, of the body at Parliament, and then on towards Kabarak, that was fully serviced by NYS. The order was impeccable. It was immaculate. And so we're able to see. So I hear what you're saying about the paramilitary training where that discipline is instilled because work can get done. Oftentimes we think that where government is involved, things just don't get done. But we see that it's happening. It happened. We saw it, and we all lauded it, and we said, this is fantastic. How will we see that potential then be replicated in the country, and in what sectors will we see that the NYS will actually work?
President of Kenya, William Ruto, has given very strong instructions as far as the future of NYS. And you'll be seeing this in coming days in terms of, for instance, involvement in our affordable housing program. To even further ensure that the work of moving the affordable housing program faster is accelerated by involving National Youth Service. That there are some jobs which can be done by National Youth Service faster, okay? And in terms of clearing these are clearing where the project is being implemented. It can be done even faster by an organized team from NYS. For instance, at the moment, NYS is doing Uduma Center in Runyenjes. It's the one which is constructing a Uduma Center in Runyenjes. This tells you that this is an institution, if properly structured, properly supported, and proper leadership, can do mega project across the nation. We have seen NYS also maintaining roads through agreement between the bodies which do roads like Kera in the rural areas because they have equipment in place. But sometimes without proper leadership, we may not see more of this. But moving forward from the instructions we have from the end of state, is NYS is going to be transformed, is going to be more robust, is going to enact the skills which are of the 21st century.
Can I link that to something that Dennis had, Dennis had said previously, when we're talking about, avenues for corruption. And here, by your own admission, CS, you said that what NYS can actually do, Runyenjes, for example, and what's happening there. And I'm thinking about the different projects, just in construction. It can be building construction or road construction that are in the doldrums, that have been done year after year after year, and they yield nothing, and billions of shillings have been spent to get these projects done, and it doesn't happen. And we have examples of where a disciplined service like the NYS, who, by the way, and maybe you can, if I'm wrong, are paid by government. These individuals are paid something every month by government to be in the service, isn't it? So why not use their services in these projects where government has been spending billions of shillings and we don't? I'll give you Mombasa Road as an example. Mombasa Road has been fixed and fixed and fixed and fixed by supposed contractors who seem to not know what they're doing. But we have an entire 20,000 strong service who, by your own admission, are skilled and can actually get these things done. Why has that not been implemented? And can it be something that could potentially get things done in the country and save a pretty shilling?
First, you don't put words in my mouth. I don't know of the project which government is spending money and there's nothing that is happening.
No. I said spending over and over roads, for example. And I'll give you another example. Enterprise Road, through agencies. Kura Kera, you've mentioned them. Enterprise Road, Mombasa Road, where for years they've never been finished. Through contractors. I'll give you an example of quite a number of roads which have been contracted. But contractors have not been paid, and therefore they left the site. They left the site. That does not mean that money has been paid and spent by contractors, and those contractors have gone scot-free. No, contractors have been have been contracted. There was a shortage of resources. And this is the time when contractors across the country are going back to work. Because government did some securitization on some funds, and now there are some resources which have been used to pay contractors. And that's why we are seeing most of the contractors across the country going back to the site. So it's not work that NYS can do?
No. I'm just trying to explain a point, a misinformation, that we have contractors who have spent government resources in a bad way, misused government resources. And that's why I've said, from where I sit, I am not aware of misuse of resources in the road construction. But what the point was, the point which you were making is, for instance, you'll be seeing in a couple of coming days National Youth Service getting involved together with the Nairobi River Commission to clean up the Nairobi River. So we are going to use these young, well-skilled young people, well-trained, with proper equipment together with the Nairobi River Commission, to clean up the entire of Nairobi River. This is a program which is going to be instituted by government through the leadership of His Excellency the President Ruto. So that's one of the examples. We have many other projects which will be coming up. But of importance is to realign, is to rethink that yes, we have come a time when we are 55 or 55 million Kenyans. Majority of those 55 million Kenyans, about 75% are young people. The mean age of our nation is 22 years. 22 years. So you can imagine, we have to move with speed, ensure these 22 years old young people are getting proper skills, getting to understand what civic duty is all about, and knowing that we have one nation, we have a country to protect, we have a country to ensure we build it with patriotism, which is required, and we get these young people out being empowered in skill-wise, in discipline, in civic duty, in focus, and in everything. So this is what we have to ensure that is going to happen as far as NYS is concerned. And as a minister, I'm moving with the speed to ensure that is going to be achieved. And of course, these are the instructions of the end of state.
Can we take a break? Let's take a break at this point, and then we'll come back and continue with this, looking into NYS 60 years later and the potential that it actually has to move development in this country. Geoffrey Rocco is the Cabinet Secretary in the Ministry of Public Service, Human Capital and Human Capital Development and Special Programs. And we'll come back after this break to continue with that at 26 minutes to 8. Don't go away.
As the sun rises, so do we, as we trust it to rise and set without any worries interrupting your day. StarTime's home solar solution with solar panels, hybrid inverter, and lithium battery, powering your prosperity and happier life, empowering you to do the things that really matter. A complete and reliable home solar solution. Call us today. StarTime Solar. Power your life.
You don't need to be a pro kwa game ya pool. That's why inaitwa crack it. You just crack it.
Yemana sisi ya mbuzi lion crack it.
Usi crack it? Crack it.
I had to create a space where I can be able to strength train and I can be able to box, because those are the two things as you're growing older as a woman you need to make sure you're doing.
They like your cutlery, the glass. So beautiful and delicate. And you have very good taste. Or is this your husband who bought that?
And this is me, but he paid.
You guys are living the life of our dreams. What? Start with the chandelier at the staircase. It feels like a cake. Oh, wow.
You know, we needed to have the pizzazz. We needed to have the extra. Not just a normal chandelier.
Thank you. You're doing well.
Yeah. We want to know, can people afford it? Like, how much is it?
Let's put it again in this way. If you were buying maybe a plot in Kamulu.
Hallelujah.
And reimagine the future of NYS moving forward with a hope of having over 100,000 young people recruited into the service, and also realizing that it is the exchequer that is fully funding NYS right now. What are some of the measures that you're putting in place to ensure that that which you get, however little it is, that is put into prudent use and is not mismanaged?
Very good question. The President of Kenya has insisted that all the resources that is at disposal, as far as NYS is concerned, must be used prudently and must be used as far as Article 232 of our Constitution, which talks about the principles and fair use of public service. And one of them is use of resources prudently. The costs must be within the required costs to meet the required target as far as the use of resources is concerned. And this is demonstrated by there were allegations I think a month ago, as far as we have some managers who have used resources wrongly, and they have been suspended. They have been suspended. At the moment, they are not in the offices as the investigations are undertaken. That shows the commitment of this government, the commitment of the president in ensuring that the resources available at NYS are prudently used, allocated appropriately and used appropriately. And anyone who feels that he can play monkey business, then he will be in a lot of problems. That's for sure. Because already actions are being taken, we are watchful, and of course we have, at the moment the government is implementing e-government procurement system where everything is approved, where everything is done publicly, and anybody from any corner of the world can be able to see what each and every public institution is doing. So is procuring and how the process of that procuring is happening. So we are on our toes as far as managing of the resources are concerned. This is a communication which I have done to all senior managers in National Youth Service because these are the instructions of the president.
Yes. 2015, 2018 NYS scandals. We know what happened to the prosecutions. And speaking of accountability, we've seen so many reforms within NYS through the years. But the constant issue is always corruption. Why is NYS repeatedly facing these corruption scandals despite these reforms? That's one. Two, you've spoken of procurement. How are procurement processes within NYS monitored? And who holds the officers in charge accountable?
Yes, it is true there were some issues in 2018 around there. There were some issues which were not very good as far as management of resources available at the NYS. And that's an issue which was taken care of properly, and implementation of new EPRC program or management system within the National Youth Service. And from then up to now, things have been quite calm as far as use of resources or management of NYS is concerned. And of course, there were some changes within the National Youth Service Act where the establishment of National Youth Council was put in National Youth Service Act because before there was no a board or a council. At the moment, the council is managed by, is ended by a general. Remember, General Mwaniki has been the chairman of the National Youth Council for the last 6 years. That is from 2018, I guess, to this month. And why do we need a general as a chairman of the council? Is because National Youth Service is also a reserve of the military. Remember, the paramilitary training for the 6 months is basically more or less the same kind of military training which soldiers go through. So is the end of military, that is chief of defense, not chief of defense. Who is what do you call the Kariri is what?
He's a CDF.
CDF, yes. He's member of the board. He's member of the board of National Youth Service, as far as the act is concerned. At the moment, there is a new chairman of the council, General Murata Andan. So these are very disciplined people who have served the nation in military for many years. Murata has served the military for 43 years to a level of a general, a lieutenant general in Air Force. And of course, in the council, there is representation of CDF. So that changes were put in place 2018. And they have really assisted in stemming any cases of corruption. And any case of corruption which seems to be coming up, it is taken care of very early enough.
Have we seen such cases pop up that have been taken care of? Essentially? Such as what?
And that's what I've said 1 month ago. There was some allegation. It's not yet established. Some allegation that there is corruption which is happening. All those who are mentioned in that allegations, they have been suspended officially. They are not in the offices until their names are cleared. That's not something that was happening before. So it shows a renewed commitment in terms of ensuring we are doing what is right as far as these institutions is concerned. Because we cannot allow to go back to 2018. A lot of work has been put in place, a lot of system has been implemented in NYS, and we can't allow anybody to take us back to 2018. So, and that's why, just a slight mention that there might be something happening here, all of them have been given leeway, please go home, until this matter is
resolved.
You're referring to the 2 billion NYS college in Gilgil, right?
Yes.
What's the current status? Because you ordered the probe.
Yes, it's investigation which are going on at the moment, and they are going on when all those who are mentioned are home. Also we must allow the law to take its course. We cannot say that once you are accused, you are condemned. We have to ensure there is fair administration of justice as far as the Fair Administrative Act is concerned, as far as Employment Act is concerned. But a situation where you are mentioned and then you still go to your office,
not going to be allowed.
Is not going to be around.
How does NYS get its money? Because I think this stems. Where does its money come from?
It's come from Exchequer.
All
from
of it?
Treasury.
Okay.
Yes.
There are activities.
Though there is some resources. For instance, there is growth. The many campuses.
Yes.
If you go to Yatta, they are growing maize. So the maize,
farms, yes.
In the farm, those maize they use they can make it fra and cook ugali. They have tomatoes, they have bananas, they have cows. So they have this in-house project which can feed themselves. But basically, money comes from government of Kenya, from Treasury.
Okay.
Yes. Do we have? I'm going to ask a question based off reports that I've seen, and there are two questions in terms of underperformance in revenue collection, in terms of services that NYS does do, and that is there was 400 million shillings against a budget of 723.6 million, which is a shortfall of around 45%, and there is no explanation as why that is the case. And then there is lack of revenue management automation, which is in terms of the farming and security services that NYS does offer. There is reports that there is no automation services to be able to stop all the loss of revenue that is being collected by NYS. So what are we doing to fix that? Because then again, there are reports that NYS is losing money by not streamlining its processes.
I don't get it as far as revenue collection, but the thing is, we are in the process of ensuring all the services, the ones you have mentioned, are going to be legally commercialized, and the instruments which are required in law are in place. That's the process which is going to take not more. We have done a lot of already. More than 75% of work is done towards commercialization of these services we are talking about. Once that is done, all the automation, all the necessary checks and balances, all the systems will be put in place to ensure the enterprise is run in the most professional manner, because this will be a company, this will be an enterprise, this will be just like the way we run other businesses, private businesses in the market. So this is going to be done in a very near future to ensure we have enough resources to expand the services of NYS in terms of skills development for the young people, which is very, very, very key to the president, and also empowerment of the young people, which is very, very key at the heart of our president. So this must be achieved, and this is something I'm doing every day. I'm pushing the command, and I'm pushing everyone is involved as far as NYS things are concerned, to ensure we are moving with the necessary speed.
Okay.
Because, as I have mentioned before, young people are out there, millions of them. We have to do something.
Indeed. You mentioned that money comes from the exchequer that funds NYS.
Yes.
We also, you said, again, I'm going back to what you talked about, that they are skilled. They are skilled in many areas. Can we imagine a situation where, on a grand scale, that the skill that is being put into these 20,000 and raising that number to 100,000 at some point, that these skills are actually used for projects around the country that are currently paying other contractors? Can you imagine?
Yes, that is now what we are talking about. We are paying other contractors, though also other contractors are supposed to be engaged.
Sure,
but we are saying, for instance, if it is affordable housing program, let 30% of the work be done by National Youth Service. Let our youth be involved in such kind of project. The Nairobi River, which we are going to use National Youth Service in cleaning up together with, in cooperation with the Nairobi River Commission, that service, that work done, NYS will be paid. If it is the servicing of government vehicle and also private vehicles, who is likely to do it better? Is it the petrol stations which we have everywhere, or is it these guys we know indeed? These are serious fellows. These are well-skilled people. These are disciplined people. These are guys who have been taught how to be patriotic, how to serve with dedication and commitment. So we have. If it is engineering services, road constructions, already there are quite a number of projects which have been constructed by National Youth Service. Even if it is assembly of probably motorcycles, rockery assembling of motor vehicles, such as motorbike or even vehicles. This is something which can be done by the young people based at NYS in our all the field stations we have. If it is hospitality, we have seen very nice catering services being offered by National Youth Service. If it's security services, securing our buildings, we have seen in town government offices being secured by National Youth Service. So we can go even to private building getting secured by national. who will you trust? Is it the guys who are trained at the National Youth Service, or some people who you don't know where they are trained
sure
from?
where they've come from.
So there is a huge opportunity of doing business as National Youth Service and getting more resources to expand this very strategic national institution and make it more robust, make it more that you can be able to train more than 100,000 young people in a year. And this will move our country forward. The good thing is, this is the vision of the president, and he's committed to ensuring that is done.
It's the NYS CS is part of the government structure, right? And one would argue in the sense that NYS has equipment that the government could take in terms of using that to repair roads. The NYS said county governments could equally just outsource services, repairing of machines, equipment, vehicles, and whatnot. NYS can do that.
Yes.
So what has stopped the government from taking these services, because it is one big house?
As I have said, it is an idea that it's what we say is now the time to implement that. And that's what we are saying. We are imagining, we are rethinking how we can position National Youth Service to be a future, a future-facing national service institution. And one of the key steps is what we are talking about, commercializing of National Youth Service, so that it can open up the opportunities which have been rocked before. It can unlock all these opportunities. We see National Youth Service offering some of these services to our county governments across the country. And by the way, out of these 21 field stations we have across the country, you'll find almost every county, if not all of them, somewhere has, all the regions have a National Youth Service station, field station. So it is possible for all these field stations to be more robust, to be more, to be properly made use of in our regions. And the rand which this station, this national, this or the rather NYS us, we have to make use of that, because rand is one of the very scarce resource and very vital factor of production, which is very much available as far as National Youth Service is concerned. So I think we are at the right time. 60 years after National Youth Service was established, is going to take a new shape for the purposes of empowering our young people, skilling our young people in a most appropriate way, and ensuring that we have a civic duty as young people of the Republic of Kenya, that this is our nation, this is our country. Regardless of what happens, we have to protect our nation, we have to be patriotic, we have to serve Kenya with dedication and commitment.
One of the other issues around this is the recruitment what do we don't call them soldiers, we call them servicemen. What do we call the people who serve in NYS just as what do we call
NYS
them?
recruits?
Recruits. No, after they're recruited, what are they? What are they called?
Yeah, trainees.
Servicemen.
The trainees, servicemen and women? Okay, fine. The recruitment is a fiasco. We have people who buy positions. We have people who are unqualified and get these positions. We also have the psyche that it is people who have not been able to make it in school who join NYS. How do we solve this issue of the recruitment of NYS recruits? How do we solve this issue of people bribing their way in to get these positions to ensure that what you're trying to achieve, CS, is actually not then seen as something that's counterproductive?
One of the things which also is going on is reimagining also the curriculum of National Youth Service. What is this can be done as far as the curriculum is concerned to get more young people trained at a short period, and it is a revolving thing. It's a quick turnaround thing. Of course, there were suggestions as far as paramilitary training, whether they can go for less than 6 months, but standards have been done and not possible. We have to maintain the 6 months for the training. But this other vocation training is not a must for NYS curriculum to be in tandem with the Ministry of Education curriculum. At the moment, it's in tandem with the Ministry of Curriculum. When a student within the Ministry of Education are going for holidays, everybody goes for holidays. So it takes time. So if we are working on seeing how do we get our own standalone curriculum so that we can have high turnaround process of churning out, training young people, and more coming in, going for different areas of our country to go and serve this nation, but also ensuring that the skills we backed are high quality skills, is not half-baked because of the very quick turnaround of training. So this is something we are trying to work as far as the curriculum of NYS is concerned, to see whether we can take it away from
accurate asset register from NYS, which makes it very difficult then to verify the existence and value of property, plant, equipment, worth billions of shillings. What is it that you're doing as the CS to account for this?
Okay, that's a good question in terms of unsupported assets. It is true, NYS has many assets, and the management of NYS is they are supposed to keep a proper record of the assets of all available assets within National Youth Service. Yes, we are ensuring that we have proper asset management, what we may call, proper asset management system. Proper asset management system. One of them is, of course, very common in the market at the moment, is tagging of all the available assets, but some of these assets are machines and huge machines. For instance, if you go to the engineering department of NYS, you'll find there are many huge engineering machines, but the management is under very strong instructions to ensure the asset management system is well in place. We know where the assets are located. We know what the asset is, from even a very small desk to a very expensive machine. That register of all the assets is there, and it should be updated again and again, as because some of them will become obsolete. In terms of some of them are not working. There were desks which were in place and are broken and repairable. You see, so asset management is key. You have mentioned before, I didn't answer your question about qualification of the young people. The qualification of young people for NYS recruitment is basically why there is some issues as far as intake is because of the limited slot which we have. If we are talking about 5,000, 500 positions, 500,000 positions available every year, we will not be having these problems.
But you have limited.
But now we have limited, and that's why President said we must ensure by the year 2027 we have 100,000 young people getting recruited to NYS.
Our time is short, and unfortunately we can't go beyond this, but we want to thank you, CS Geoffrey Roku, for being here this morning. from the Ministry of Public Service, Human Capital Development and Special Programs, looking at NYS 60 years down the line. Asante Sana.
Thank you so much.
Good morning at 2 minutes past 8.